As those who are paying attention know, the elections in Venezuela are coming up. And part of the problem is that the Maduro government, due to actions of the United States government, internal sabotage, the Maduro government's approval rating is actually pretty low, and this seems like a very real threat that they could be voted out of office. Now, what the U.S. is doing here, what the imperialists are doing here, is trying an entire new tactic in order to destabilize the government and bring back imperialism in the country. This is what they're trying now. They're trying a pink imperialist approach. Okay. Basically, they have a lawyer, a gay rights LGBT activist, Tamar Adrian, who registered to run for Venezuela's Congress as a part of the opposition bloc, as part of the pro-imperialist section of the opposition. This person is the first transsexual to ever be running in the government. Now, they're running against the Chavez Maduro government, the Bolivarian Revolution, what have you. Now, this party is also fielding two candidates. Now, this person and the organization that they represent is connected to an organization that has ties to the National Endowment for Democracy and USAID, which are both long-known groups that the U.S. uses to interfere in the elections and the democratic processes of other countries. Now, this person is now running on the idea, or on the ticket, that Venezuela's revolution has ignored LGBT people, most specifically trans people. And this person had to register using their given name, even though they had a sex change in 2002. Currently, because the Venezuelan law doesn't allow someone to do that. Whatever it was you were at birth is what you have to put on official documents, even if you do have a sex change. But that's the angle that this person is running from the queer rights, LGBT freedom, saying that the exact quote is, "The revolution did not represent sexual diversity. Prejudice prevail." I would say that's largely true. I mean, it is Latin America after all, and Latin America has been pretty bad in terms of LGBT rights, except for Cuba, which I'm sure is a total coincidence and has nothing to do with them being a socialist country. But I would also like to point out the fact that it was actually a lot worse before the Bolivarian government came into power. In fact, it was a lot worse. There weren't protections for LGBT people, which are there now. So this person is essentially saying that it was better before the Bolivarian government, while consistently supporting the position of imperialism and being funded by imperialism. I mean, this is all part of a strategy that the U.S. has begun in the last couple of years. It's called pink imperialism, where we have justifications for interfering in other people's elections on the basis of the rights of sexual and gender minorities. Now, the same kind of thing is done in Israel all the time. We must support Israel because Palestine is horrible to LGBT people, therefore justifying U.S. intervention in Israeli imperialism against Palestine. I mean, this is the same kind of thing. This is the very liberal position behind imperialism. Normally, what we have is the very conservative, oh, we're fighting dictatorship, so we're fighting for freedom. But when a liberal's in government, like Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, etc., it's always some kind of humanitarian intervention that's necessary in order to carry out an imperialist action. A good example of this was with Muammar Gaddafi. The U.S. was blatantly outright wrong, and all the liberals who opposed the Iraq War, the Afghan War, all jumped on board to bomb and invade Libya because supposedly he was a big evil tyrant. Even like notable anti-war liberals like Keith Olbermann was right on board that. And in fact, his very first broadcast after having left MSNBC and going on the new network, the name escapes me right now. I can't remember the name. Anyway, his very first episode where he had Michael Moore as a guest, they both were jumping on the pro-war bandwagon against Libya. So what we have here is very much the U.S. trying to use the discrimination of LGBT people as an excuse to carry out imperialist intervention. This is, as I said, this is a new thing, and it's one that attempts to get support from the LGBT community for these types of actions, meaning, see, look, we're trying to go in and help you people, so, support us in doing so, when really this is nothing more than imperialist intervention. But I don't think that this will be particularly very successful, because largely the LGBT community in, well, pretty much every country is exceedingly small, and not a demographic that has particularly a lot of voting power. It can have a very loud voice, but is not particularly powerful in society due to the fact that they're disenfranchised. So I don't personally believe that this will actually work as an attack against Venezuela, but it is very much here, and it is very much a symbol of the liberalization of imperialism. If we cannot simply paint people as evil dictators that need to be invaded and killed, then we come up with justifications for humanitarian intervention. Gaddafi was supposedly slaughtering all these people, which never happened. And in other words, it's giving a nice, pretty face, a pro-liberal face to imperialism itself. So basically, we should be standing on the position to reject this. I mean, things are better for LGBT people now in Venezuela than they have ever been in the history of the entire country. But these people, the imperialists, would have you believe differently. There is no justification for imperialism in the country whatsoever. If you like this video and you'd like to see more of them, then head over to my Patreon page and show your support. Or you can go to the MRN bookstore and check out some of the latest books available. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and share on various social media.